Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets. Hi everybody, Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, March the 9th, race number 7 at Gulfstream Park. We're going 5/8 of a mile on the turf course. It's an entry-level optional claimer, $25,000, the optional claiming price. Let's take a peek at this field. Remember to download your free Formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them and handicap along with us when you've made your final determinations. Of course, you can play this race in the entire Gulfstream card with your DRF Bets account and free Formulator past performances. Mike, the 5 Sayaaf, the morning line favorite, has all the fast races and might be the horse to catch.
Yeah, I think he probably is, Dan. You know, it's interesting. His last 2 starts on the Tapeta surface are pretty impressive wins, wire to wire. He hasn't, necessarily been a great turf sprinter throughout his career. Seems like he's maybe a little better, or he has been a little better on turf going longer, but he's really fast.
Let's throw up that time form US pace projector. UC Sayaaf expected to make the lead in here. A bigger priced horse, Dr. Duke, Thing, Breakthrough. They don't have Sayaaf speed, and really the point that Mike made is well brought up. His last 2 races have come over the new Tapeta surface at Gulfstream. He won those races very easily. I mean, he likes turf. He's been doing very well in middle distances for his prior connections. It'll be interesting to see how he handles 5/8 on the grass. I think he'll be just fine.
I think he probably will too. His overall record as a turf sprinter is not great. It's mostly against better horses though. And it feels like his last 2 starts anyway are an indication that shorter distances aren't a real issue for him.
Horse returning from a layoff is the 1 Crack Shot. This horse's trainer, Frank Russo, wanted a 30% rate in 2021. And we have a formulator fact for Crack Shot's trainer. Past several years, horses moving from track to track on turf, 30% winners, 454 ROI. The big concern with Crack Shot is the layoff. We haven't seen this horse since September. He was listed as a vet scratch on January the 14th. It's taken him more than a month to get back to the races.
Yeah, the layoff could be a concern here. I do think he's a nice fit as far as the class level of this race goes, Dan. It's interesting. This horse started out his career in New York. He was more of a speed type horse then. Feels like that's not the case anymore. He won his first start for this trainer from well off the pace. I liked that performance from him. His win 2 starts back, he kept closer. He always looked like he was going to win. Once he got through on the rail, he won very easily. I think Crack Shot's an interesting long shot in here.
And he faced 4 next out winners in his most recent start. So that allowance was very tough at Monmouth over Good Going. The runner-up would come back to win a 1 other than at the Meadowlands with an 84, then ran 3rd twice against 2 other thens at the Fairgrounds with stereo 82 buyers. Breakthrough is the number 2. I think you can make a case that Breakthrough is a horse that's very dirtied up in here. His last 2 starts were against stakes horses without Lasix. He was probably overmatched in both of those races. The 2 starts before that, 1 on synth, 1 on dirt. I just think he's a turf horse. If you're able to somehow say, I'm willing to throw those 4 races out, you go back to last summer, this horse was competitive at this level sprinting at Gulfstream.
I don't have anything to add to that, Dan. It's exactly how I looked at Breakthrough in this race. He's 6-1 on the morning line. If he's anywhere near that price, that just feels like it's very fair to me. This is a horse who could easily win here.
Karnak is a horse that just lost his way. He sold for a lot of money as a son of American Pharaoh, a $350,000 yearling. He won his maiden in the race we're going to show you right now at Tampa Bay. He comes from off the pace, and the pace is fast, going 5/8 in here, but he is able to defeat a couple of next out dirt winners, and it looks like he's just getting going at the end of this race. The problem is this race was way back in early May, and he has been away for a long time.
Yeah, agreed. And it's, even though he got the job done here, I don't think it's the most impressive win in the world, Dan. As you mentioned, it was a pretty fast pace in front of him. You saw the 3 horses there that he chased down at the end. They were very tired at the end of that race. And he, to his credit, he came and got him. But, listen, he still has to improve by a lot off of that performance. He's got to improve off of a very long layoff.
But Oro de la Cour does have some good numbers off layoff, and this horse is lightly raced enough that we probably haven't seen his best. The 4 is Thing, who ran a good race at Keeneland, albeit with a good trip 3 starts back, going 5.5 furlongs. He was a gigantic price in that race, and he finished a close second. He sort of underperformed in both starts this Gulfstream meet. One turf sprint in which he showed brief speed before tiring. Last time out on the synth, I'll give him a little bit more of an excuse. He didn't need to like that surface. He was in between horses and just couldn't keep up.
Yeah, I don't necessarily care about his last race either. His prior 2 turf sprints, I thought they were okay. It's interesting to watch those 2 races too, then, because this horse gets out of the gate really well. It seems like he's got a good amount of early speed. They didn't try to make the lead either time with him. I'm sort of interested in him because I feel like if they just let him roll early, I wonder if he just might not be a better horse that way. I just don't know if that will work in this race with the horse that's drawn right to his outside.
Sayaaf earned a 100 buyer speed figure 4 starts back, winning going a mile for Todd Pletcher. He was claimed by Michael Maker for 62.5, and this is one of those Maker claims where he may not turn out to be a stake source, but Maker still knows how to place him. He's won 2 in a row, one for 35, then he dropped him in for 25, and the race will show you right now on Tapeta, and Sayaaf was simply too fast. He went to the lead, and he shows them his heels all the way around. 89 buyer speed figure. Does it concern you that he was claimed that day and it was voided by the vet?
That has to concern you. The fact that he dropped in class off of a win for his second start off the layoff has to concern you as well. I guess the flip side of that, Dan, is he sort of won well within himself there. I know it was sort of getting close at the end, but really that race was never in doubt. To me, he's looked pretty good winning his last 2 starts. So I do feel like just coming right back for the same price tag, I know it's switching over to turf now. That's not supposed to be a problem. This horse to me is supposed to be very tough in here.
Partners hope the 6 is winless on turf. We just saw him finish 4th behind Sayaaf on synthetic. He did win 2 starts back over the synthetic, albeit against maiden optional claimers at Gulfstream. Maybe there's a little bit of a class issue here, but I think this horse can come with a late run if the pace is very hot.
I agree with that. I thought he might have been able to come with a late run last time. He just sort of started, drifting in there a little bit. And I think that sort of cost him at the end of that race. I don't know. I think that this horse has a real chance to be competitive in here. I think he's very, very hard to trust. He's a little bit of an in and outer. I think his good race gives him a chance, though.
I wouldn't blame anyone that thinks the 7 Zano is the alternative to Sayaaf from a wagering standpoint. He's likely to be the second choice at post time. This horse ran on the synth last time out in that race that produced Thing. He finished ahead of him. And again, I'm not really interested in the synthetic race. He showed good speed 2 starts back to win a Florida-bred $16,000 claimer. Wesley Ward's horses usually show speed. The horse that won that race with Thing over the synthetic last time out did come back to run second in a grade 3 on turf.
Yeah, I think this horse is going to show speed too. I can't say that, I'm necessarily thrilled with any of his races, Dan, but he does seem a little bit, more reliable than some of the others in here. I thought his win 2 starts back was fine. I think if he runs something like that, he's probably going to be right there at the end.
Blinkers on, getting back to the preferred turf surface for the number 8. That is Dr. Duke, who was no match for Sayaaf. He was 70-1 in that race last time out over synthetic, and he just didn't break very well. This is a horse that does show speed when he gets out of the gate, which has been an issue for him in his last few races.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like early on anyway, he had at least a little bit of potential as a turf sprinter. He won a race at Saratoga last summer, albeit in a race that was just dominated up close, and he got loose on the lead. His form's been terrible since then.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Wednesday DRF race of the day. You're going with Sayaaf. He's likely the best horse, at least on figures. He's the fastest horse. He might get the best trip if he's up on the lead, and an easy one at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with anybody who just said he's a terrible bet as the favorite in here, and I want to try to beat him with somebody else. I feel like that's a perfectly valid way to look at the race. I couldn't quite get there. I almost put Crack Shot on top. He'll be the other horse for me. I went 5-1.
I'm curious to see if Thing can improve and maybe show the kind of tactics that you were talking about. I agree that this horse has some underrated speed. He draws inside of Sayaaf. He draws inside of the Ward train runner. Maybe they're just going to let him run and gun and see what he can do. He's a big price on the morning line. If not for the win, maybe underneath the 2 favorites. 5-1-2-4 for Mike, 4-5-7-6 for me. The Wednesday DRF race of the day is the 7th at Gulfstream Park. Best of luck.